Love. What a strange word to use when describing software, business software for that matter, enterprise software. For the longest time, enterprise software was thought to be boring and no one even wanted to use it. And yet, every SaaS company that I've been part of, we would meet users, we would meet customers, and they would literally profess their love for our product. How did that happen? Here's the thing, it wasn't by design. And in the companies that I've been part of and in the products that I helped create or the products that I helped promote, depending on the different stages that I was in my career, I started to learn that there were very specific things we did that led to this emotion being created when users and customers and people used our software that caused them to say, no, I love ToutApp or I love Marketo. And here's the thing, because SaaS is so competitive, because there aren't that many competitive moats that exist today, and it takes time to build those moats, in the early days, the biggest thing you have going for you is when users and customers absolutely love your product. And so in this episode, I'm actually gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know that I've learned in my own journey, my 15-year SaaS journey of building, scaling, and exiting SaaS companies, that you absolutely need to know so that you can also think about how to create this emotion of love when it comes to your users, your customers. And when you do this, you'll be able to compete in a whole different way and you'll be able to accelerate the growth of your SaaS business. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you are new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every Sunday with actionable strategies on how to grow your SaaS business on this channel. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, this really fast growing community, thank you for being here. If you're part of my coaching programs, thank you for being here. My people, all of you, it's really great to see you back over here again. Now, not a day goes by like today. Now I meet a lot of founders. I chat with a lot of founders. I always have a lot of founders that I coach. A lot of them that I meet have used ToutApp in the past. ToutApp was my last SaaS business that I founded myself. I grew that out and then I sold it to a company called Marketo, and then I joined Marketo's executive team. And I learned about Marketo as well. And Marketo's founders did an incredible job of creating an entire category. And so I've learned a ton in being part of these 2 companies. And one of the things that happens consistently, first for ToutApp, I still meet people today. They're like, oh man, I used to use ToutApp. I loved it. And with Marketo, once I joined that company, I remember that first Marketing Nation, 5,000 people, we were announcing the acquisition of ToutApp on stage. And I remember seeing the people there. I remember meeting a lot of the marketers. Like, it was a cult-like feeling. People loved Marketo. They even wore the company color of purple. And I remember also, even before going into that, my demand generation manager, when we had hired her, we were using Pardot, to be honest, which is kind of blasphemous, but she was like, I can't work here. I will quit if we don't upgrade to Marketo, because she loved Marketo. And the day we signed the contract for Marketo, she celebrated with like this purple champagne bottle. And I was like, what is going on? And even when I visited customers for ToutApp, I would remember seeing, like, first of all, ToutApp was on all their screens and they were using it. But when I talked to actual users and actual salespeople, they used touting as a verb. They were like, yeah, we tout it all the time, which is incredible for business software, for enterprise software, because no one really wants to care about their work software. Now, I can understand, really being passionate about your iPhone. I was gonna grab my iPhone, but I keep it somewhere else. I'm really passionate about my iPhone. But for enterprise software, like, how did that happen? For ToutApp, we were very intentional about manufacturing these specific experiences in the product. For Marketo, the founders and the people that built up that company from the beginning, I came in much later, right, when they acquired us, they were very intentional about creating this culture of love, like where marketers just loved that product. And we had salespeople that just loved ToutApp. Now, let me be very clear, like, none of these products were perfect, right? ToutApp, we had our own share of bugs. We had downtime as we were scaling, as is normal in the early days, right? And Marketo, like, it was aging software. It still needed to be revamped, and they were redoing the entire UI, UX when I was there. But even still, even with all those imperfections, in a way, even because of those imperfections, people still loved it. And so I want to walk you through the 3 key principles. I reflected on this, like, what are the things we did at ToutApp? What are the things that the Marketo folks did in the early days? Like, what made this whole thing work really well? So I distilled it down to the 3 key principles that you absolutely need to know to create this emotion of love in the products that you are building, in the SaaS businesses that you are building. Because if you can pull this off, it's a competitive advantage and a competitive moat unlike any other. And I highly recommend that you actually try to institute these 3 principles. If you're excited to dig in and go into principle number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Let's go to principle number 1. Principle number 1 is you've got to deliver a dopamine hit. Okay, so let me explain this. First of all, what is a dopamine hit? Dopamine hit is that feeling that you feel when you open up Twitter and you see what's new in the feed. It's that feeling that you feel when you open up Facebook and the little notification icon goes off. It's that feeling that you get when you're in Asana and you check off a task and a giant unicorn flies through and it checks off the task and it kind of disappears and you feel like, oh, cool, I did something. Here's the thing. When it comes to business software, you gotta just get in the mind of your customers and your users. They're just in their jobs. And as much as people may love their jobs, they're not like in love with their jobs. They're not like, this is exactly what I wanna be doing all the time. Like a lot of people that we build software for, they're running workflows. They are in repetitive jobs in some cases. They're using our software to reduce the load on repetitive tasks. And so, if you can think about what are the moments where the software is actually doing a critical workflow, you're finishing a workflow, and in those moments, if you can give them like, hey, great job, or a giant animation, or something that reinforces their behavior, or a sound, any one of those things, what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna be taking something that they do all day long over and over and over in your software, and you're gonna be delivering a dopamine hit to them. And what ends up happening is, I did a bunch of research into this when we were designing ToutApp, and we were very intentional about this. What ends up happening is that people start to get addicted to that in a good way or in a bad way, depending on what the action is they're taking, right? But for business software, they get addicted to doing that thing because now a routine piece of work that they have to do, that they have to use their software for, all of a sudden becomes addictive because they get rewarded for it. It becomes reward-seeking behavior. This is a core underlying principle that drives all kinds of social software. Like you think about Facebook and Twitter, like all those feeds are addictive for a reason. It gives you a dopamine hit. But you can use that same principle for good. And so the way we did it at ToutApp, I'll give you get a very concrete example of this was, we would be integrated into Gmail and into Outlook. And we had an option to just when you hit send, it would track the email and do all the work for you that Tout did. But we didn't do that. What we did was we actually added a tout it button next to the send button. And so if you wanted to send a normal email, you just hit send. But if you wanted to tout it, then you hit the tout it button. And when you hit the tout it button, we'd do this little animation, a bunch of work would happen, and then it would send the email. And in that simple, small design, what we were really doing was creating that addictive loop of saying, hey, if you tout it, you get rewarded. And if you tout it, it feels good. All the way down to the point where when we visited customers, touting became a verb. They didn't just send emails, which is a boring part of their salesperson's day. They were touting it, and that meant something to them. We had t-shirts that said tout it because people wanted them and people would actually go after them. At some point, we were actually selling t-shirts for $10 on our website because people wanted it, which was really, really cool. And so what I want you to think about is, there's all sorts of evil ways that dopamine hits are used to drive addictive behavior. We don't have to talk about that here, but in business, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to reward someone when they do something that's a core part of the workflow. Let's just say you have invoicing software. When they send an invoice, boom, make them feel good about it. When they send an email, if you're an email software, boom, make them feel good. When you send a campaign, help them celebrate that, hey, you just sent a campaign. These are little things that are repetitive workflows that people do in your software. And if you can bake in ways of making a sound, doing a haptic feedback, doing a little celebration, making rainbows go off, any one of those things, then users will love you. They will get addicted to that workflow in a good way, and you'll actually reinforce positive behavior in their job. And also, your actual activation rate and retention rate in your software will go up because they'll want to do it more and more and more and more and more. And that's the power of actually delivering a dopamine hit. Now, there's a lot of science to this. Like, how do you structure this? How do you do it in the right way? There's a lot of research around this. I did a lot of research when we were building out the touted button and also the live feed to make sure that it was actually an addictive experience. So if you really want to go to the Bible of this, the book you need to check out is called Hooked. Hooked is a book by Nir Eyal. It's a book about how to create habit-forming products. And as we're building SaaS businesses, as we're designing our products, as we're starting off in the early stages, this is super important. If you build a habit-forming product where you're delivering a dopamine hit, usage goes up, retention goes up, and most importantly, churn goes down, activation goes up. It actually impacts your business in more ways than one. And when you do these things, customers will tell you like they absolutely love your product. Why? Because you're rewarding them on this routine piece of their work, and they feel good about it, and they get addicted to it in a good way, and you reinforce that, and that's super powerful. I'll link to the book below for Hooked. It's a great book. I love Nir Eyal's work, and I like combed through that when I was designing the first few versions of Tout App, and we wanted to make it as addictive and as snappy as possible. And that's one of the big reasons why people loved the product back then. So that's principle number one. Principle number two is you need to actually tell or show them they're doing a great job. At the end of the day, we're humans, right? And at the end of the day, we want to be told that we're doing a good job. We want to feel like what we do matter. We want to feel like, hey, like this is not just, I'm not some cog in the machine. What I'm doing actually is contributing to a bigger picture. I'll equate it to this. Do you remember, like, if you've had a job before, do you remember looking forward to your one-on-one with your manager? I know I did, and most people feel that way. Not everyone. I don't want to assume anything about you, but most people look forward to it. And there would be certain weeks where, like, my manager was too busy, and he's like, "Hey, can't meet this week. Let's just meet next week." And I would feel a little bummed. And the reason I would feel bummed is not because like I'm like super needy, but it's just really nice to meet with your manager and get reaffirmed on the good work that you're doing, and to go through like, hey, here's all the stuff I did, here's what I'm thinking about, here's where I'm stuck. Like, it feels good. It just feels good. And so what we were thinking about was, hey, salespeople are sending a lot of emails. How do we make it where we just reinforce all the hard work that they're doing? And so one of the things we did is we had the core integrations, and we were like, we want to own our own piece of real estate on their screens. Meaning, if you walk through a sales floor, we want to be able to see Tout App on its own on their screens, and we want to make sure that they're hooked on that, because that will really drive, like, that will own that piece. We don't want to make it where we're just plugged into the email experience or the CRM experience. We want them to live in what we do. And so we created this thing called a live feed. And the live feed would be a little narrow bar that would sit on the left side or the right side, whatever your preference was. And it would show you the real-time activity feed of all the emails you've sent. It would fire off fireworks when someone closed the deal in the team. But more importantly, it would have this one giant number. And the one giant number was the number of emails you sent. And for salespeople and for SDRs who we served, the number of emails you sent was a good proxy, not the best, but a pretty good proxy of like how much activity you were doing and how much work you were doing. It was a good proxy showing that, like, look, you're actually putting in effort. And in sales, a lot of times it is about activity, number of emails, number of calls, and then that's like the leading indicator, and the lagging indicator is number of deals closed. And so what we did was every single time you would actually hit the touted button on the live feed, the number counter would go up on the number of emails you've sent today. And what we did was we actually used that to show them, like, hey, you did a great job today. Like, there are some days where people will work. I know I've had this, I'm sure you have too. At the end of the day, you'll leave and you're like, what did I even get done today? And the higher up that you go, the harder it is. But if you've got software and you can figure out using the data and the actions they've taken in the software, if you can give them a summary of their day saying, hey, you accomplished this much today, or you sent this many emails today, or you sent out this many invoices, or here's how much revenue you closed. Like, if you can give that synthesis and tell them, like, good job, like, that was awesome, then you're gonna actually get love out of users and customers that are using your product. Why? Because we crave confirmation. We crave someone telling us, like, hey, you're doing great. Like, maybe not the best, maybe not the worst, but like, you're doing great. Like it's good. And so telling them and showing them that they're doing a great job, and in some cases, if they're not doing such a great job, is actually one of the ways you can drive love and an emotional connection between the product and your company and what people do. This was just as true. I'll give you two other examples of companies that did it well. I'm a big fan of Superhuman. Superhuman is an email client. I'm actually a very tiny investor in that company. Back when I used to angel invest, I don't angel invest anymore because it's a bit of a conflict of interest for my coaching program. But I did that investment. And one of the things I love about Superhuman is once I get to inbox zero, they have incredibly beautiful backgrounds. That's one of the dopamine hits that I get. It's different every time. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. The other thing they do is they will literally show this giant number of how many consecutive weeks I've been at inbox zero. And that's like a number of telling me no, you're using the product in the right way. You're doing a great job. You're at inbox zero. You're taking care of all of your emails. Great job. Good job. And it was one of those things drives a dopamine hit, which is principle number one, but also they're telling me how great of a job I'm doing. And so in my brain, I'm like, oh, if I clear out my inbox and process all my emails, I get to see a beautiful picture. And also it's gonna tell me that I'm doing a great job, and it's gonna keep this counter of how I'm actually inbox zero or inbox free for this many weeks straight, which is super, 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 super powerful. I'll give you one other example. The whole reason Marketo was a thing, if you really break it down, it's an incredible platform, did a lot of things, but ultimately what it really did was it allowed marketers to show their impact to revenue. That was their biggest thing, because they were like, cool, here's how many leads, here's how many MQLs, here's how many of them became opportunities, here's how much of the revenue we actually sourced as marketing. That's what Marketo really did. And that's why marketers loved it. They loved it because they could find something look, we're not just crazy people just driving a bunch of shitty leads. Here's what we're doing. Here's our impact to revenue. And that's what that platform actually allowed marketers to do, which is what made the founders of Marketo super amazing. And so that was what they were doing here too. They were essentially telling them and showing them they're doing a great job. And as an extension, they could take that report or anything else and share it with their managers, their leaders, or their broader peer group. And that allowed them to feel even better about themselves. And in turn, they were like, I love Marketo. And the same thing goes with ToutApp. In the earlier days, we were showing the number of emails, but also what we tried to do was show you reports on how your emails led to actual responses and actual impact in terms of the pipeline. And that was also incredibly powerful on hey, look, you created this template is doing really well. Here's the open rates. Great job. And we created this entire feed showing those kind of things, which again, drove more of this principle of just showing people what they're getting out of it. All right, so those are the first two principles. I do have a third one for you, but before I go into that, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power of this? Are you starting to see the power of look, this wasn't by accident. These companies that, with products that customers love and users love, they don't happen just by accident. They happen because they design the product in a way where it serves them in a higher way, in a bigger way, and it actually connects with them and drives emotions with them. And when you do that, you get a much deeper connection with your users and your customers. And we've talked about other things that builds this type of relationship, like building a brand or having a strategic narrative that really inspires them. All those things on the go-to-market side are important, but it also comes down to product as well. So if you start to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? Also, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Also, while you're down there in the comments, why don't you tell me which product you absolutely love, whether it's currently right now or in the past. I just want to get a tally of other products that you may be loving as well. One last thing before we go to principle number 3, if you're in the stage where you're starting off a product or you're building out your product and growing your company, but you're starting to wonder hey, how do we grow and how do we get these things right? Ultimately, there's 3 key things that go into a successful SaaS business: product, market, and go-to-market. And you want to make sure you have a strategy for each of these. We're going through some principles around your product strategy that will help you really drive that love and that emotion, but there are others. So if you want to dig more into that, be sure to check out my 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide. It's completely free. It's my gift to you. I will link to it below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this video, but let's go now to principle number 3. So principle number 3 is reduce the number of clicks it takes for them to do their job. So the other 2 principles were around how do you take something that your product's already doing and how do you actually drive reinforcements in there? How do you tweak it in there to make it where it's front and center and gives them that emotional dopamine hit, gives them that reaffirmation of hey, you're doing a great job. That's what the first 2 principles are about. The third principle is about adding more features or revamping features that are in your product. And we did this too. Now, the core of this, ultimately, no one cares about software. No one wants to use software. They want to use software to get to a certain result, right? I use email software so that I can actually communicate with people. I don't actually care for email. I just want to be able to communicate with the people that are emailing me or I need to email. I don't want to use a marketing platform. I just want to generate leads. That's the result. I don't want to meet with people, but I need to meet with people at the right time that works for both of us so that we can actually figure out if there's a relationship to be built or a deal to be had or some sort of partnership to be had. So software is kind of this middleman. And so if you can think of your software as like, cool, here's the customer and the user, here's the result that they want, here's what we do. And you can think about like, well, how do we get them that result in fewer clicks? That typically leads to great feature ideas. And if you can do some of those features that helps them accomplish their result with fewer clicks, customers and users are gonna love you. This is something that I saw consistently. Software that said, hey, it takes 50 clicks to accomplish this result of like sending out an email campaign or figuring out attribution, we're gonna do it in 2 clicks. And customers were like, hell yes. I don't want to do 50 clicks. And they would go into it and they would get that result and they would switch over and they would upgrade and they would love you. And so what I want you to think about is what are the core results that your software is driving, and can you add additional features that reduces the number of clicks it takes for your users to actually do their job and accomplish that result. Let me give you a concrete example of this. This was like back in 2013, I think, when we introduced this feature. This was revolutionary when we first did it. Now it's fairly standard and it's evolved. So one of the interesting things was salespeople were constantly booking times to get on meetings. And there's this weird thing, even today, if I'm a potential buyer and the salesperson's like, hey, let's get on a call. And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do a call. And they're like, cool, here's my Calendly. There's this weird power dynamic where they can't really share the Calendly with me. I'm like, I'm more important, I guess. Calendly has become, or scheduling things like that have become more normal now, but back then it wasn't. A salesperson couldn't just send over a Calendly link. So what they would have to do was they would have to look at their calendar and they'd have to forge the email and they'd look at the calendar and say, okay, well, how about Thursday at 3 p.m.? Or Friday at 4 p.m. Like it was dumb. People probably still do that today too, but it's less and less so because Calendly is becoming more ubiquitous, and also like this tooling exists now in other tools. So we said this is dumb, and people were typing all this in and clicking, and here then we're like, okay, all they really want to do is suggest some meeting times, right? That's literally what they're trying to do. So let's reduce the number of clicks for that. So we built a feature that would say, suggest meeting times. They would hit the button and their calendar would pop up. They could see their own events, the salesperson, and they would find the empty slots and say, cool, I want to suggest one here, 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 and here. And these blocks would get created and they would hit the OK button, and this little text would get created on, cool, here are some times that work for me. Which one works for you? And it would just list out those time blocks. That alone saved salespeople anywhere from 25 to 100 clicks because they'd have to go through the calendar, go back, go to the calendar, go back, type this stuff up, go back. And we would just do it in 3 seconds. And that was a complete game changer. And that was one of those things where it literally just drove more emotion and love because salespeople would just be saving so much time on this thing they had to do on every single deal, every single person they were talking to. So that's a concrete example of this principle of how you can reduce the number of clicks that it takes for them to do their job, and therefore they'll love you for it. And not only will they love you, they'll never leave you because it's so critical to their job. And that's the power of thinking about how to revamp your product so that you're actually creating this product that's like boring business software, but it evokes this emotion, completely transforms how they relate to you and how they stay loyal to you as you continue to grow and as they continue to grow. So this video is going on for a while. If you haven't already, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you made it to this point, that's awesome. I have something for you. Let's recap first. So if you're building out your product, if you're just starting out and you're looking for product ideas, this is a good way to hone in on exactly the type of product you can build that just creates that emotion of love with your users. If you already have a product and you're looking to actually rise above the competition, you're looking to create more loyalty, reduce churn, this is a great way to actually revamp your product so that you create that emotional connection. And we don't talk about that as much in B2B SaaS, but it's just as important, and the best of the best do this and actually think about this. That's what makes this so powerful. So to recap, number one, Think about your core workflow and deliver a dopamine hit. Make them feel really good about that thing they have to do over and over and over. Make them feel really good so they love you for it. Number two, as they're doing that thing over and over and over, number two, show them that they're doing a great job. Summarize some sort of metric for them. It's like, hey, you did a great job today. Here's what you did really well. And show them reports, whether it's on a daily basis or a weekly basis or quarterly basis, so they get that feedback loop even when their manager is not available, and that way they'll love you for that and they can actually share that with others. And number three, look at your product and see how you can reduce the number of clicks it takes for them to do their job, and if you can add additional features. When you compound these three things, you essentially become unstoppable, because when you reduce the number of clicks and then you deliver a dopamine hit, like as you do that, and then you summarize like, hey, here's what you accomplished this week with even fewer clicks, like all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I love you. Like, thank you for helping me do my job so well and making me feel so good, which is kind of what we do here. The power in this, one of the reasons I love B2B SaaS so much is we tend to forget, like B2B SaaS has now become cool. It was not always cool. Consumer has always been cool because millions of people will use your dating app or your social app. What people don't realize is when you build incredible business software, armies of people will use it. And when they use it day in, day out, and you create a product that really changes the game for them, helps them do their job better, helps them rise above, helps them do it quickly, gives them more time to do more higher value activities, they love you for it. And when you host that user conference where people show up, or that customer dinner where you show up or you visit that customer, you'll feel that love because people will be like, I love this. And you'll see that, it'll blow you away. And what we don't realize as B2B SaaS founders is our software at scale, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people could be using it across the globe in the most intimate form, which is their job, the way they earn their living. And that's what makes B2B SaaS so amazing and so powerful. And so if you think about these principles and you think about how you can improve your product so you make their day just that much better, you give them that dopamine hit, you tell them they're doing a great job, and you reduce the number of clicks, they will love you even more. And that's what makes this such a special industry for us. So that's what I had for you today. Now, before you go, you made it to this point, so I have a free gift for you. If you're in the stage where you're building out your product and you're looking to scale your SaaS business, you're looking to get to initial revenues or just take it to the next level, you'll be wanting to think about a strategy for growth. And so, every single SaaS business is built on market, product, and go-to-market. Those are the three key pillars you need to optimize for. So I have a free gift for you. It's just my gift for watching it till the end. I have a 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide. Inside of this guide, I actually break down these three key pillars, and I give you the 5 points of growth that you need to think about in terms of your SaaS business. I link to additional resources and videos so you can actually flesh those out. It's incredible. It's been downloaded so many times. I've gotten so much great feedback around it. So it's my gift to you. Just go to getunstoppable.com/strategy. Getunstoppable.com/strategy. You can get free access to that 5-point guide for driving growth for your SaaS business. Now, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, I drop in-depth videos like this where I go deeper into topics on how to scale your SaaS business every Sunday. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. I have over 100 episodes on how to grow SaaS businesses. We've talked about positioning, messaging, ICP, product strategy, market strategy, TAM, fundraising. So I have key playlists so you can dig into my prior videos where I went into more principles like this. Some of them are in-depth like this, and some of them are 10, 12-minute punchy videos that just covers a topic. So I'll link to some playlists down below. You can check those out. You can also go to my channel page and look at more of the playlists depending on where you are in your journey. Also, if you have a friend, a fellow co-founder, or a team member that will get value from this video, please share it with them. It'll just mean the world to us. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, this is what happens when you skip a week. You got a lot of practice.